Hey everybody, Strider's back with another daily high ELO casting, and today we have a very special turn of events. Not necessarily special, but we're going to pretend it's special because I said so. It's going to be a very interesting match. We do have a lot of the high ELO but slightly unknown players in this game. So it's gonna be pretty interesting. I'm excited to see what Pobelter is gonna be able to do with Anivia. See if he lives up to that normal Anivia. I guess just Anivia gameplay in general. That Froggen has sent the benchmark / ultimate goal to. So we'll see how it goes. Great stun. It could have been a little bit earlier, but that's okay. A lot of people can time it perfectly right when it spawns. The orb just goes over the flash frost. There we go. That's what it's called. Just barely hits over the wall, and this is a very dangerous lane for Anivia. I do not like this lane for Anivia. Oh my gosh, those spear spams are absolutely insane, and Anivia just doesn't have any armor or magic. Well, yeah, mainly just armor because it's. I believe it does physical damage. Yes, it does physical damage. She's not going to be able to do too much. She's going to have to go really safe, but Skarner is pinging down here because the blue team knows that Skarner's going for the red buff, and Skarner ends up flashing over the wall, burning his flash early, but it's much better than getting converged on by 3 people. He made a ballsy play, got caught doing it. Very unfortunate, but sometimes that's just what it takes. You have to be ballsy, you have to take the risk. Skarner doesn't do too much early ganking until he hits level 6, so it's not going to be a major issue that his flash is down. He can still take his own red buff, although his red buff is also warded. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I wonder if they're going to come in and try to steal that. Darius might have a tough time getting there from the stuns that Kennen has. So it'll be interesting. I don't think Pantheon will be there. I think they're just using it for the time. Yeah, they're not really changing any positions. They know he's really low, and he's going to continue to get lower. But I just don't think there's anything to do. And Azingy with Maokai looks like he's going to come out. If they can land onto Anivia, once Anivia gets into her egg form, she's going to go into negative armor. And that's going to be a lot of damage. And now there's 2 junglers in mid. This is going to be a very bloody... Oh, and a lot of stuns with the snare. A great sapling toss going out, trying to get as much damage as he can. And now Skarner is protecting Anivia with his life, and he's doing a great job at it. So awesome job being able to use the flashes of the Maokai as well as Anivia's. Dangerous thing about that is that Pantheon still has his flash. His Ignite's down, but he still has his flash. And Kog'Maw's all by himself at this point, and he might get... No, he gets exhausted at the very last second, and now he's slowed, and Kog'Maw's just going to dance to make fun of him, and I believe that he's going to go down. He takes a little bit of damage from the sapling, and the sapling is going to do it. Kog'Maw... Kog'Maw actually flashed to try to get that kill, and then got killed himself, and he didn't even get an assist for that. So after he was showboating, it just got smashed back in his face. I always love seeing plays like that. It's a little depressing to see in retrospect, but at the same time, it's kind of amusing. Mistakes like that happen. You just got to remember to humble yourself, and just because your team is converging really well and you're trying to steal a kill doesn't necessarily mean you should be too reckless about it. And Skarner's coming out. He does have red buff, so he's going to be able to slow Darius down, but Darius does have auto attack. Great auto attack damage coming out from Kennen. Just his auto attack damage is still ridiculous. His attack animation is really fast, makes him very, very strong in lane. But it was very interesting for me to see Darius with Ghost. I guess it kind of makes sense just because he wants his hemorrhage, not hemorrhage. Sorry, it is hemorrhage. Yeah, he wants his hemorrhage stacks to go onto the person as frequently as possible, but not many people use Ghost. He doesn't have a wall jump maneuver. He doesn't have a real hard engage. He can pull, but it's a relatively short range. I think this might just be a test. It might be testing out Ghost. I just don't know if it's the most optimal spell, especially going up against a Skarner who has that suppression and Kennen who has the stuns. Ghost really isn't going to get you very far when you're stunned and suppressed, but a flash, you know, can get you out of Kennen's ult, or once Skarner's ult goes down, he can flash out of the danger zone. A lot of action going down bottom. It looks like Graves is still just kind of hammering away. It's pretty close. Skarner's coming in for the gank, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything. And they actually made Pantheon use his flash. Fantastic job. They did not give up. I don't think that Pantheon knew that Skarner did not have his ultimate up. So that's a very interesting way to do it. Oh, and now the full stacks of hemorrhage. And wow, a great stun coming out. And now the man drop coming out from Pantheon was able to pick up the kill. Great pickup. Was able to do just enough damage. It was a great attempt at Kennen to flash, but he flashed a little bit too late. So Pantheon was able to get the man drop stun off onto it. And oh my gosh, the blue buff just got stolen by... That was a great job by Maokai. He had that ward in there to monitor when the blue buff was coming up, and he knows that Skarner doesn't do a lot of burst damage, so he had a huge opportunity. Once it got kind of low, he just threw the sapling in there, and the sapling did enough damage to it so he can smite it before Skarner could even react. So overall, a great job by Maokai being able to pick that up, not give that to Anivia. Although it kind of looked like it was going to go on Skarner anyway. But still, at the same point in time, it's very detrimental. Anivia needs blue buff almost all the time. And now Skarner's level 6. He saw Pantheon go over there, and now he's going to possibly pull him out. Yes, and oh, a whole lot of damage going out onto the Pantheon. Skarner's still really low. He's going to try to run away, and Kennen comes down from top, and this is not looking good. I don't believe... Oh, the stun is just barely missed by Anivia. I'm not sure why that missed, but... Oh, and a lot of auto attack damage still coming up from Anivia. Anivia now grabbing that blue buff and going to steal theirs as well. Overall, it was a fantastic comeback play on the red team. They were down a blue buff, but they were able to bring it back with a great ultimate coming out from Skarner. And the support from Kennen. So wonderful map awareness by the red team, pinging down that blue buff, knowing that the blue team was going to go and take action onto that buff as soon as possible. Because right when you take somebody else's buff, they know that, you know, your side of the jungle spawns at about the same exact time, you know, give or take a few seconds. And this is a very dangerous move. Okay, Skarner barely gets away with not a lot of health. But you know, that's the risk you take. Anyway, like I was saying, the jungle buffs come out about the same time, of course, depending on the junglers, depending on the leash size, things like that. But if you get counter jungled, it's a very safe bet to assume that their buffs are up at the same time. And so it shows that, oh, and a man drop going to come out. The exhaust is still on, and a great stun, and a crescendo coming out. A lot of damage coming out. Great slow. And now the ultimate coming out from Kog'Maw, being able to pick up the Sona and the Pantheon Spear as well. Overall, just amazing play by the blue team. They're really bringing it back. They're extremely coordinated. Those man drops are just huge plays coming out from the blue team. And it was a perfect man drop. It was right here, and the red team was just... They were exhausted, they were slowed, there was just nothing that they could do. They couldn't run up to the river because they were cut off by the Nunu. And oh, Skarner just barely misses that to prevent the recall. It was a great attempt, but very unfortunate that he was not able to get it in time. Yeah, so Pantheon's just doing a great job. Mid lane, oh, he gets the stun off. Now he does a lot of damage. Oh, and the stun coming up from Anivia just in time, being able to do a little bit of damage and also get away, I guess, with his life, or with her life. But they might go for a little bit of a tower dive here, it's possible. The man drop is on cooldown. Now Skarner sees that Maokai is here because of the fact that they had an ult, and now Anivia is coming down, a lot of damage coming out from both of them. Skarner doing a great job pulling him right into the Anivia, away from his teammate. They did not notice that, blue team did not notice red team had a ward in this bush right here. A great play by the red team, being able to pick that back up. Maokai just does, he's very utility based, so being able to snare somebody, pop them up, slow them down, kind of knock them away a little bit. It's a very strong skill set in general. His damage isn't terribly high, but he reduces damage in team fights. And so, especially with the fact that they have a Kog'Maw and Hemorrhage coming out. Oh, and another man drop coming out from... And I think Kennen's going to go down. Yes, he does get stunned. The man drop is just too powerful. Those stuns, you can stun basically from the air. From mid-air, you don't even have to land quite yet. And Skarner might be going... He gets stunned! And Skarner's not going to be able to follow up on that. A lot of damage going down bottom, and it looks like Kog'Maw is now exhausted. He might go down. And yes, he does go down. It looks like the Nunu was... Oh, and yes, the Acathian surprise doesn't really surprise the Graves, but it was a nice attempt at surprising. And still got the kill, and that's really all that matters, because anytime you get a kill after you're dead is always a fantastic feeling. Yeah, this Pantheon's just doing a lot of work. But their team comp, in a sense, is revolving around protecting the Maokai. Or, sorry, the Kog'Maw. With Maokai, Nunu being able to speed him up and his attack speed. They're really gearing towards getting Kog'Maw into the late game presence. And now Anivia getting jumped on by mid lane, almost killing the Pantheon. Pantheon's almost dead, and he's going to get an armor reduction. Yes, and does go down. Poor bird Anivia. She never had a chance. It's too much CC for Anivia to deal with. The only thing that is a little bit depressing about that is the fact that Anivia's ultimate will stop if she gets silenced, if she gets knocked up, stunned, any form of CC. And hers is the only ability in the... Oh, and a lot of damage coming out on bot. Nunu gets a great ultimate, pretty much full, hits both of them. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage because Nunu's, only level 7. But it still does enough to back them off and also slow them down. But like I was saying, Anivia is the only champion in the game with an ability that, if it's channeled like that, if she gets CC'd, the ability goes away. So, you take, for instance, I don't know, Swain. Swain's ultimate's a lot like that, has to be activated and deactivated. If he gets CC'd, he doesn't get out of bird form. But unfortunately, Anivia's ult is like that. I wish they would fix that. It would be a great quality of life for her. Oh no! A lot of action going down bottom, but now the man drop coming out the stun snags the Skarner without any problems, and now it's 4-on-2, and they might go for a tower dive. Nunu did slow down the crescendo coming out, and the collateral damage doing tons of damage. Anivia might go for a nice wall here. The stun doesn't hit anybody. She's not fast enough to get a wall down. Oh, no, the wall just barely gets them out. Very nice attempt, but Nunu with Blood Boil is able to successfully get everybody out of that fight. Even Pantheon only level 1 boots, and Anivia is still considerably slower. I'm surprised that the speed up aura from Sona, that she doesn't have leveled. Never mind. Sometimes speed ups can be incredibly underrated, although Shurelya's is basically a required item at that point, for most supports. So I think that's maybe why she doesn't level it. She wants the heal and the extra damage leveled up as much as possible. That's what I would assume. Most Sonas do that. Sometimes Sonas like to get that one level into it just in case they can get a power chord with the slow. Because I still think that is a great... Her slow is pretty powerful, especially once you max it out. Red team was able to back blue team off enough to where they were able to get dragon, and it's a relatively late dragon in the game. It came around 15 minutes. So, that's going to be spawning in 6 minutes, about 21 minutes or so. And we're going to see who can test that. If it's actually going to be timed, it's both warded. Although red team has a pink ward there, and they can take out blue team's ward at pretty much any time. since it's relatively new. They just have a few minutes to do it. And Kog'Maw is doing insane amounts of damage to Sona. Sona goes down without much of a fight at all. She's trying to get out of there. Unfortunately for her, she did not have her flash up, and she also did not have Crescendo. A lot of damage going up top, and the Darius goes down to a Skarner and Kennen, and that's a very dangerous bush to run into. If Skarner ults you, and then Kennen ults you kind of right at the tail end of that, it's not good times. And Anivia's coming up to pick up a free 25 gold from that ward, also make them lose vision. They do kind of have a general idea of when the dragon's going to spawn, though. So blue team's not terribly worried about it. They're not going to be worried about it for another like 2 minutes or so. And it looks like Pantheon, yes, Pantheon is going for a man drop. Great slow by Nunu and the stun now, and he's going to get a free kill for Kog'Maw. Pantheon's ganks are just proving to be too strong. Usually when Pantheon ults, it's relatively predictable and you're able to get away from it, but with that slow from Nunu's Ice Blast, it's terrifying. They just can't do anything about it. They're slowed by 25%. It is maxed out first, so it does do a considerable amount of damage, slowed for 4 seconds. So they're Graves is either forced to fight at his tower against 3 people or run into a Pantheon ult and get stunned. So he didn't really have much of a choice, to be honest. He was going to die relatively instantly. Oh, now Darius is in this bush, possibly waiting for the Skarner. No, Skarner, or Darius is just going to run away, doesn't want to fight that Skarner. And I really think Darius needs to pick up Flash next game. That would, especially against a team comp like this, where they have a lot, maybe not a lot of CC, but 4 out of 5, yeah, I'd say that's a lot. Yeah, I would definitely say Ghost would not be the best choice against this particular team comp. It could be great on Darius. I'm not saying that it was just a bad life decision, but I think against certain team comps, it's not the most optimal. When you're Olaf, you can play Ghost because you can't be CC'd. You know, some champions like that, it's okay to run it on. Or somebody that has a blink that you can blink out of other things, so you don't necessarily need flash. And a lot of damage coming out. Skarner's gonna go down here as well from the Pantheon. Pantheon is just all over the map, picking up kills left and right. He's 7-1 right now. Has a ton of armor penetration, and that I would be very interested to see if he picks up a Youmuu's Ghostblade and then picks up another Brutalizer, because the armor pen is unique on the Brutalizer and it's also unique on the Ghostblade, but they're not parallel to each other. Oh, and a great flash, being able to flash through Crescendo as well as right over that wall. Very unfortunate for the red team using such a huge cooldown. And now Anivia is going to get exhausted and Ice Blasted, and Nunu has a huge ult and gets snared inside the Nunu ult. But she does come back to full health, and she's going to go down still pretty much instantly. It does slow down the red team a little bit, but Nunu's going to come down with another Flash Ice Blast. I don't know if... Yes, Kog'Maw, one more ult will do it, and it does pick up the kill. Great job by Kog'Maw being able to pick that up. Nunu and Kog'Maw have just shown why this combo is so deadly. Nunu can speed up the attack speed as well as the movement speed of Kog'Maw, as well as slow the opponent, so it almost guarantees his ultimates for going off, because he does have to stop for, you know, a split second to throw out his living artillery. But when you have increased movement speed and the opponent has reduced movement speed, it's very easy to hit those abilities. And I really have to keep an eye on this Pantheon, because Pantheon's just jumping all over the place. He might be going top there. Yes, Pantheon is going top. And the ultimate coming out from Kennen, being able to survive a little bit. He is not going to stun the Darius again. Darius does get the ult off. And I don't know if Skarner is going to live through this. He does throw out his ultimate. And, oh no, Darius is taking a lot of tower damage. Maokai's ult does not prevent tower damage. It's one thing that I think a lot of people don't know, or they know and they just don't care, but it doesn't prevent tower damage. I believe it still stacks up as far as the damage. Let's see. Oh, it's stored energy. Maokai really stored energy, absorbed magic damage enemy. Yeah, okay, so it doesn't even do extra damage if you absorb tower shots. And a great kill on Kog'Maw. The living artillery actually wasn't even necessary. Or the collateral damage, I think. Yeah, the collateral damage was not even necessary on that particular kill. But, you know, it's nice to guarantee the kill, especially on the Kog'Maw, since Kog'Maw is 6-3. Very terrifying is the blue team. Pretty much everybody that needs to have kills has kills. Except for possibly Darius. Darius doesn't really have any kills. But the Pantheon and Kog'Maw having kills. Especially Pantheon having kills early on in the game. And another dragon going down for the red team. So great job. They really need that. And Darius is now getting slowed. He's going to ghost out of there. And he is. Yay, ghost was useful. So great job being able to get out of there. They didn't have all their ults up, so that was one of the major leading causes of that. But even if they did, he still might have gotten away. Crescendo was still up, but they don't want to use it on just one person, which is a great move. You never want to use an AoE stun or taunt dance ability. I guess is what you call it, a dance. You don't just want to start a rave for one person. I mean, that's just a very depressing rave. So you definitely want to have a rave with like 3 to 5 people, I would say, or else it's just a waste. You don't want to have, DJ Sona spinning the beats for one person. That's just like a forever alone moment type of thing. And Sona is just running into the living artillery, doing a great job at taking those hits. She's going to try to recall there, but it's possible that... No, okay. Kog'Maw is just going to run away. Red team does have a ward in the middle of this lane, and a lot of people think it's kind of weird to have a ward there, but it's great because then you know where they're going. A lot of times once if blue team were to push all the way to the tower, they can either transition top or transition bottom, and they would just do it by going through these middle brushes, these 2 brushes right here. So having this ward here tells you exactly where they're going to go, and it's not an expected ward, and so they don't necessarily know it's there and they don't expect it to be there. And if you wanted to know any other way, you'd have to have a ward here and a ward here, and that's not always the most practical thing to do, because if you can have one ward that does the work of 2, why not? And pushing against Anivia is borderline impossible. If she has blue buff, which she doesn't, she does have a Mejai's though. She's 3-2. She's doing the best on her team as far as KDA goes. Did miss that stun just barely. Oh, and a lot of damage coming out onto Sona just from one auto attack and that red buff, true damage. Skarner sounds like he really wants to kill somebody. He has a flash ultimate. I don't think they're... Yes, he does flash for the ultimate, but Pantheon was ready for it and did prevent it from going through. And that kind of looked like a Deathfire Grass. Yes. Yes, Maokai is going AP. I like that. I really like that. So, going AP is Maokai, because all of his spells scale off of AP, even his ultimate. But getting a Deathfire Grasp is just, overall, I think Deathfire Grasp is an amazing item. It's one of the only percentage damage abilities for AP carries. And the fact that later game, if you get enough AP, you can do 50 to 60% of somebody's current health. If they have a fed tank, you can just chunk their fed tank for 60% of their health. And they're like, that wasn't supposed to happen. And a lot of damage coming out in the ult, and the flash coming out from Kennen. Kennen is now doing a lot of damage. Skarner's able to grab down, and the ult from Darius, as Skarner gets a double kill, and Sona does throw out the auto attacks, but doesn't pick it up the power cord like she wanted to. Oh, she does actually. She picks that last hit up onto the Kog'Maw with the power cord. And a great exchange there. They were able to trade 4 for 1. Definitely worth it since Kennen did all the damage he needed to do with his ultimate. He was on top of like 3 or 4 people, and then he blew his Zonius, and now the red team's going for Baron, a very aggressive play, but if they successfully pull this off, they will be back in this game. Darius is now coming, and he's just trying to delay them as much as possible. Now Darius, oh no, missed the stun, and Darius is going to dunk Sona. Oh my god, that was dirty. So the dunk's coming out, and now Baron is still at a quarter health. I think he's so low, and Skarner's going to have to back off. The man drop coming in gets cancelled. Very unfortunate. Nunu has his blood boil, and before Baron's health even starts to go back on, they're able to pick it up. And the blue team is just doing a great job, and now the consume. Oh my gosh, that is very depressing for the red team. They did all the damage they could, and now Skarner just going down. Free kill, and Pantheon does a man drop onto Graves. It's very depressing. Everything was looking up for the red team. They were a little bit too overzealous by going for that Baron. If it would have paid off, it would have paid off. So if they would have got Baron, it would have definitely been nice, but they were probably going to lose the team fight right after. So I don't know if it was the best choice. Especially, oh, now the ultimate coming out from Kennen, and he goes down instantly before he can even stun anybody. And great wall, and crescendo coming out. Wow, that was a great combo. The wall with the crescendo, just stopping people in tower range, and a lot of damage going on to the Maokai as well as the Pantheon. They're gonna back off the blue team with 2 people against 4. Which is an absolutely phenomenal job, and that's why I say Anivia is very difficult to push against. As long as she's alive, and she has some form of support like the Sona, it's almost impossible to push against her. It's just not going to work out the way they want it to. And now blue team is going for their first dragon of the game. They do have consume, and the hemorrhage stacks are going to do plenty of work. And I believe he's going to save consume for the last hit just to ensure that they get the damage. Yes. So great job by Nunu. It's almost like having 2 smites on the team, yet the jungler doesn't have to be where the support is at all times if they want to control the map. So technically they can control both jungles just by roaming individually. They don't have to actually go as a team like most people do, just to ensure that they don't get a buff stolen while they're trying to steal it. So I guess, yeah. Great. It's just, Nunu's good. That's the lightest way to put it. Is a very good champion. He seems to be quite underrated a lot of the times. He has all the abilities that a support champion needs, as well as, you know, the extra bonus of consume. Yeah, consume isn't used too much, especially later game. It's not used unless it's to get, you know, Baron. But same thing you could say to smite. Use one of your summoner spells for smite instead of like an extra exhaust or something like that. But overall, it's still a great move. If you're in the middle of a fight, you can walk to some minions and just omnom it while you're running away. Overall, it's just a great ability, and I think it's a little bit underrated. He doesn't level it too much, but you know, it heals him for almost 200 damage. It's not going to be a ton, but it's definitely going to be enough to possibly help him get away if there is a minion that he can run to. And now Nunu with the Oracle is going to be able to take out their wards, and blue team is going to gain a massive map presence at this point. Since they do have Baron and an Oracle, it's not going to be safe for them. And a lot of damage coming out from Kennen. Kennen almost goes down to half health. Very close. And living artillery from Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw does get caught out by the wall. He's forced to retreat, gets split up by his team, but he doesn't care because he does so much damage, taking Skarner down to about 1/3. Absolutely insane. And now the sapling is actually hitting pretty hard. And Pantheon at this point, he can split push all day. Since the towers, once they get close to the base, they're closer together, which gives his ultimate. Oh, and he is dropping down. He's dropping down onto the team fight, and he is going to man drop. Does get the stun off, but then gets pulled off by the Skarner, and Pantheon goes down almost instantly after he drops down, but then Maokai goes down on top of that. Kog'Maw is doing an insane amount of damage. They're doing a great job at preventing him from going down. And the Darius cleans up the fight. This might be a game finisher. It's very possible. With the Nunu and the Kog'Maw still up, that's a lot of attack speed and attack damage. Kog'Maw's taking the tower. Apparently he doesn't really care. But yeah, that's just, since it's ace and they have 16 seconds till anybody's up, Kog'Maw's attack speed is just way too fast. It's not going to do too much for the other team. Very unfortunate. A great game by the blue team. So congratulations, but also GG to the red team. They held on. I think the turning point in that match was when the when the red team went for Baron when they probably shouldn't have, and then blue team was able to clean them up as well as take that Baron. It was already looking a little bit down for the red team, but then it started to come back, but that just kind of swept it all away once blue took Baron. So it's very unfortunate. As far as gold goes, let's see if I can actually bring this up. Okay, so gold, as you can tell, Kog'Maw just demolished everybody. 13,500 gold. Nobody on the red team even had 10,000, and 3 people on the blue team had over 10,000. It's over 10,000! Yeah, the support champion from the blue team almost beat out everybody on the red team, and that's never a good sign when your Nunu support has more gold than everybody on your team. It's pretty unfortunate, but overall it was still a great game. And if you guys like the videos, please like, subscribe to my videos. Again, this is a daily casting. I try to do this as frequently as possible. If I miss days, a lot of times I try to do a daily double the next day. I try to get scrims when I can. But if you have any requests as far as champions you want to see, or certain players you want to see on any server, including the Europe servers, just basically anything but the Asian servers that require a special social security type of number, I can't get in those because I don't have an account, because I'm not a resident of those countries. But yeah, please send me a request. I'll be more than happy to try to find those champions or those players for you, and cast some games so you can get a better idea of how they play, how they get to this ELO. And again, thanks guys for watching. See ya.